Brought to you by Penguin.
Between the Covers by Jilly Cooper, read by Pandora Sykes. I am thrilled to be reading this collection of journalism from Jilly Cooper, the novelist who defined my teenage years. After my sisters gave me a copy of Riders, aged 11, despite my young age, my mother didn't fight this gift, although in a pre-Google age she did refuse to tell me what the sexier words meant. I gobbled the rest of Jilly's thick, saucy novels, which coined an entirely new genre of fiction, the bonkbuster. So hooked was I on the high drama of this horsey world that I frequently remember intoning to a nun who taught me, "I will not take my books to lessons, I will not take my books to lessons," after I went through a period of reading them, none too covertly, under my desk. Written 50 years ago, these columns are a thrilling and fascinating insight into popular culture half a century ago. The trials and tribulations of a young, married, working woman. Many of Jilly's preoccupations are very different to those of young women today, but there is common ground, too, and plenty of Jilly-tastic puns. It has been a pleasure to read her words. Author's note. 1968 was a miracle year for me. At 31, I was poised to give up my job in publishing because my husband Leo and I were about to adopt a longed-for baby boy. Then, at a dinner party, I sat next to the glorious Godfrey Smith, ex-president of the Oxford Union, great journalist, author of many fine books, one of which, The Business of Loving, was a Book Society choice. Godfrey was also editor of the Sunday Times Colour magazine. During dinner, I regaled him with tales of how disastrous I was domestically as a young working wife. I cited one occasion when my red silk scarf strayed into a launderette wash, so my husband Leo's rugger kit came out streaked like the dawn, and he boasted of being the only member of the rugger team with a rose-pink jockstrap. Godfrey laughed a great deal and asked me to write a piece about it, which he published in the Colour mag in early 1969. This was enhanced by a very flattering photograph of me, joyfully holding our new baby, Felix. Imagine my excitement when a week later, Harold Evans, the great overall editor of the Sunday Times, summoned me and offered me my own column to write about anything I liked. The column, amazingly, lasted for 13 years, through the 70s and early 80s, often chronicling my chaos as a wife and mother working from home, and our lunatic but hugely enjoyable social life. Sunday Times readers did tend to like or loathe what I wrote, with my first column upsetting them so much Harold Evans was able to fill my next week's column with their furious letters. I am therefore delighted that my dear publishers Transworld are reissuing a collection of some of my favourite columns. You will find the selection covers, among other things, our London life in the sexy 60s and 70s, and our move from Fulham to Putney Common. What I love most about the book is that it brings back not only my macho, forthright, funny husband Leo, who died of Parkinson's disease in 2013, but also my children, Felix and Emily, as they were growing up, my sweet parents, and so many friends and adventures. On the other hand, rereading the pieces some 50 years later, I wonder, was this really me, so up myself and so utterly obsessed with sex? Did I really dare write that? But I do so hope that readers both young and old enjoy them. Lots of love, Jilly Cooper, CBE. The Young Wives' Tale. Looking back on the first fraught year of my marriage, I realise we lived in total screaming chaos. I spent most of my time in tears. Not tears of misery, but exhaustion. I couldn't cook. I couldn't sew. I had no idea about running a house. My knowledge of sex was limited to Eustace Chesser and Lady Chatterley. Yet suddenly I was on trial. Sexually, domestically, commercially, socially, and aware that I was inadequate on every count. My husband's remarks like, "Do you really think the bookcase—"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?